It's one of the most famous stories ever told, a tale of beauty, obsession, and madness set in the depths of the Paris Opera House. But behind the haunting music and tragic romance, the Phantom of the Opera hides a darkness that has followed its performers for generations. From mysterious accidents on stage to sudden deaths, breakdowns, and eerie coincidences, the so-called Phantom Curse has become one of theater's most unsettling legends, a shadowy presence that refuses to fade, no matter how many curtain calls are taken. The curse's origins go back long before Broadway, to 1910. When French journalist Gaston Leroux published Le Fantôme de l'Opéra. Inspired by real-life stories of strange happenings at the Paris Opera House, including reports of a hidden underground lake and a chandelier that once crashed onto the audience, Leroux wove them into a Gothic masterpiece about a disfigured musical genius haunting the opera and the young singer he loves. But even during Leroux's research, there were whispers of something dark. The Palais Garnier itself was said to be cursed, a place where the spirits of past performers lingered. Some workers refused to stay late in the building, claiming to hear faint organ music echoing from the cellars, even when the stage was empty. Leroux even wrote in his original foreword that the Phantom existed, and that his remains had been found beneath the Opera House, a claim many took as fiction. But others insisted was true. From the beginning, the Phantom of the Opera seemed destined to blur the line between legend and reality, and as it would turn out, the ghosts of that story weren't content to stay on the page. When Universal Pictures decided to adapt The Phantom of the Opera into a silent film in 1925, they turned to Lon Chaney, the Man of 1,000 Faces, to bring the mysterious Phantom to life. Chaney was a master of horror makeup, known for torturing himself to create terrifying transformations. But the Phantom would test him like no role before. Chaney designed his own makeup in secret, using wires, fish skin, and even egg membranes to distort his face. The process was agonizing. His nose was pulled back with wires hooked behind his ears, his eyes hollowed out with dark paint, his cheeks sunken with dental plates. He would sit for hours under the hot lights, gasping for air. Some said he looked like a corpse come to life. Crew members later claimed Chaney began acting strangely during filming. He would sometimes speak to the empty set, muttering as if the Phantom were real and watching him. Others swore they heard footsteps echoing in the Opera House set long after everyone had gone home. And when the film finally premiered, something eerie happened. During the famous unmasking scene, where Christine tears off the Phantom's mask, several audience members fainted or screamed in terror. One man reportedly had a heart attack in the theater. The moment became one of the most shocking in cinema history, but it left an unsettling legacy, that the film had captured something real. Shortly after filming wrapped, Universal's set for the Opera House began to collapse mysteriously. Instead of demolishing it, the studio sealed it off beneath newer stages. To this day, the original Phantom set remains hidden under the Universal backlit, untouched for nearly a century. Studio workers still claim to hear music coming from below. When Andrew Lloyd Webber revived The Phantom of the Opera for the stage in 1986, it became one of the most successful musicals in history. But almost immediately, strange and frightening events began to plague the production. During early rehearsals in London's Her Majesty's Theatre, crew members reported cold drafts sweeping through the auditorium and props falling for no reason. The massive chandelier, a central symbol of the story, became the focus of countless fears. During one test drop, the chandelier fell too soon, narrowly missing a stagehand. Another time, it malfunctioned mid-performance, swinging wildly over the audience before coming to an abrupt stop. Performers began talking about the Phantom's presence. Sarah Brightman, who originated the role of Christine Daae, claimed she sometimes felt someone's hand on her shoulder backstage, only to turn around and find no one there. Michael Crawford, the original Phantom, said he often felt watched while in costume, as if the character itself had taken on a life of its own. One night, after an especially emotional performance, Crawford reportedly went to his dressing room and heard faint organ notes playing from somewhere nearby. He thought it was a sound technician, but everyone had already gone home. Several cast members across different productions have echoed similar stories: whispers behind curtains, sudden chills, phantom footsteps, and inexplicable equipment failures. Stagehands even began leaving a single seat open in the back row for the Phantom, an old theater superstition to appease restless spirits. Over the years, the Broadway production of Phantom gained a reputation for being cursed. The show's massive technical complexity often led to dangerous situations, but some incidents were far stranger than human error. In 1988, just months after the show opened, a stagehand was killed when a piece of scenery fell on him during a rehearsal. Another technician later suffered a serious fall from the catwalk. The press quietly reported the incidents. But theater insiders began whispering about the Phantom's revenge. In the 1990s, several cast members reported breakdowns, illnesses, but depression after leaving the show. One performer who had played the Phantom for years said he began dreaming nightly of being trapped behind a mask, unable to speak or breathe. He claimed he felt possessed by the role and had to move overseas to escape it. In Toronto, an understudy playing Christine fainted during a performance, during the same scene where Christine faints in the story. The audience thought it was part of the act until paramedics rushed to the stage. Later, she said she had felt an overwhelming pressure in her chest, as if someone were standing over her whispering, "Sing for me." As the Phantom of the Opera spread around the world, from London to New York, Tokyo to Hamburg, so did the strange incidents. In one German production, the chandelier's rigging failed mid-rehearsal, falling inches from the cast. In another case in Japan, a power outage struck the theater just as the Phantom appeared on stage, plunging the audience into total darkness for several minutes. In Las Vegas, where a special $75 million production was mounted in 2006, construction delays and repeated injuries plagued the crew. Some electricians refused to work at night, claiming they heard singing coming from the unlit auditorium. The chandelier, again, a central prop, malfunctioned so often that the cast began leaving offerings, like flowers or playbills, in the orchestra pit for good luck. The curse even seemed to follow the show's music. Several recording engineers who worked on the cast albums described strange feedback, static, and faint voices that appeared on the master tapes.